I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
This is a long time coming. NIGHTWISH. This goes out to the big homie Pony. Big homie Pony. Pony's been an OG villager from way back. She's been literally asking us for a year and a half.
Not for this song though, right?
Not for this song, because the song hasn't been out for a year and a half. But this is literally for you, Pony. I don't have anything else to say. For timely, topical, political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. If you don't want to wait a year and a half for one of your songs to be reviewed, dear listener, Patreon is there for you. $1 at the gate. We're trying the official video because Pony told us the official video wasn't going to get taken down and blocked. So,
we shall see.
Inshallah. The reason that we don't do official videos is because we do videos like completely straight uncut. You'll notice that we do that. Most reaction channels don't. The reason most reaction channels don't is because you cannot monetize it, right? So you're not going to make any money. All the money is going to go to the record label. The way we all set that, we believe, okay, somebody's going to put $1 on Patreon and you know, that'll make up for it if a bunch of us do it. So we're never going to cut up the video. But what happens is if you play the official video and you don't cut it up, most of the time they block your video so your folks can't see it. So if this is not the official video, it's because Pony lied to us and it did get blocked, and so we had to change it, which created more work for Sori. But that's okay. Let's go.
If that happens, I'm going to create a new card that's going to say Pony lied.
Pony lied. Been a man. Let's go.
Ready, go.
Whoa. Baby, got a barcode.
Misery.
Jeez, oh boy. I don't know what the song, like, lyrically was about, but visually it told a story. Jeez.
I was just on a call today with somebody about social media and all that jazz. Really good. This 2 Mouse guy, because he's the one that writes the songs. Pretty sure. Yep, there it is again. He definitely has something to say. Good Lord. The name of the album is Human Nature.
Oh, interesting.
Which, it's really, there's 17 songs, right? But
How's the heart?
When you go from song 10, all the works of nature which adorn the world, Vista, all the works of nature which adorn the world, the blue. It's the same title all the way to, you know, till the end. So that's very interesting to me. I don't know if those are instrumentals. I don't know if all of those are instrumentals or what. Yeah, it looks like there's all instrumentals at the end. So this looks like a really interesting album. Just conceptually, it just conceptually looks like a really interesting record, and it seems like something different for Nightwish.
Yeah.
Visually, it was definitely different.
Absolutely.
Like it is not, you know, Nightwish is kind of like Lord of the Ringsy.
Yeah.
And this one was, to me, it was dark. And a little bit scary, but...
Yeah, it was, but at the same time, I feel like there was a lot of truth to it. So, obviously, I mean, I think we're both going to come up with the same conclusion as to what it was visually about. It looked like it was all about social media and how we utilize social media, and we cover up who we really are, or the situations that we're really in, to always show our best side. And then, you know, you see the girl, you know, getting her lip filled, which I've actually never seen that before. That was pretty alarming.
Yeah, that's, was it Botox injection?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, like, before and after, but I've never seen it, like, and maybe that wasn't even real, but it just looked like, and then there was all these people that were sitting on their phones, and everybody's in this drabby environment. And then I didn't understand why. Okay, everybody was looking at white screens. And then they were scrolling through the white screens.
Yeah.
But then this one person comes up with a red screen, and then everybody jumps on them. And I didn't understand what the red screen was supposed to be.
Well, I just think
maybe it was leaving the party line or doing something different.
And then everybody jumps on that, and then everybody's going to become a red screen person now. You know what I mean?
Well, then they just started videoing that.
Yeah.
You know, and everything was just about videoing. And I feel like that sometimes I, you know, don't have my phone out and it's always this balance between, do I take my phone out and record this moment for a future, or do I enjoy this moment for now?
Well, we had this conflict because Orion's birthday, it wasn't a massive conflict, but Orion's birthday was a couple days ago, and you're like, oh, you know, this would be good for the channel, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no. Because, like, I wanted that to be, you know, just us type of thing. But to me, it was like, oh, I don't want to commoditize that. But obviously to you, it wasn't about that. It was about bringing the village in because we announced
they were there through the pregnancy and delivery we told them about and everything. And so, and people were asking, you know, how's his birthday going to be? And, you know, so.
Yeah. And I just wanted...
For me, it was like kind of like having family there at the event. So.
Right. And
I had a hard time with not doing it.
Yeah, and I was, I understand that. And if we talked about it more, I probably would have, like, compromised on it. But to me, it was just like, geez, a lot of our... But then, I feel like I think a lot of it is like, we were driving somewhere and you're like, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning or something, and you're like, do you realize somebody's watching us right now? And I was like, it kind of weirded me out a little bit. So ever since then, I've been kind of like weird about it, but you know, it's I definitely like believe in the what they're talking about, but it's hard for me to be like, yeah, because it's like our entire careers are built on social media and taking pictures and taking selfies and yada yada yada. So it's like, it's a weird, to me, it's like it's almost like it's the same thing with them. It's like, you guys are famous, so obviously it's easy for you to criticize people for taking selfies and posing and all that, because you get a steady diet. I'm talking about Nightwish now. Like, you guys get especially Tomas. I mean, these guys have been up for 20, 25 years. You've got a steady diet of people feeding your ego, right? Whereas a regular person doesn't.
Yeah, I think...
So they get the little endorphin rush.
I think, though, that it's for me, the angle of it was the false nature of social media. So, you know, when we do our reactions, they're not fake. That's why sometimes we don't like a song. And that's why we make people very angry. And a lot of times people say, I love your channel because of how authentic it feels. True. So, you know, and I've posted some pictures. If you look at our Instagram, scroll around, you'll see some pretty horrible pictures of me. And I know that like, every time I post a terrible picture, like you took one of me being pregnant with Orion and I looked like so nasty. And I'm like, oh well, you know, like... I think that, you know, as a matter of fact, Becky said something. She's like, I don't think Sori's gonna like you posting that picture.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's real and it's authentic, and that's what you saw in the moment that you walked in the room. I had all this food around me and I was all pregnant. So it's like, but I think, you know, for instance, there's like this guy, he's like inhaling all of these pills for manlyhood, like they were man pills or something, like I think it said man on the bottle, and then there was somebody else that was doing it for weight loss, and then the king was actually not on like a throne and in this awesome setting. He was actually on a toilet, you know, like it was just like, you know, these things that people do. And then here you have like, and I really liked this message, like all these people are sitting there on their phones and you have the Mona Lisa right there, which is like a true piece of real authentic art that is like thought-provoking and like, you know, mysterious, and people for generations have looked at that piece of art and been like, wow, you know, but they don't even see that and they're not even contemplating it because they're so busy on this place.
So I have a hot take. I've never understood why Mona Lisa is such a big thing.
Apparently, the look on her face.
I feel like the Mona Lisa is a big thing because people said it's supposed to be a big thing. Like, I don't understand. I never understood that. But I don't want to get away from your point. The point is this historical work of art, and then these people are on their cell phones, which kind of mimics that famous picture of there's all these kids in an art museum and they're all on their cell phones. Like, that was the sort of thing.
Or the end, when you have all these people that were strapped to these beds, unable to move or walk, and you have the young all the way to the old, and then they're wearing this mask that's like showing them everything. Like,
well, yeah, it says in a hot air matrix.
Yeah.
So that kind of harkens back to the Matrix.
The camera pulls back and goes up and you see this amazing, beautiful sunset and like all this beauty that's out there that's missed because, you know, we're too busy doing this. You know?
There was a line she said about a sunless something. She said... What is it? Sunless.
Well, I think
there it is. Noise from a sunless world. Like the world is sun... And I thought that was interesting. Obviously, there's a little bit more context now with the COVID situation, but like we're all inside because we're all on like social media and like you know, like even little kids, they, you know, like I can't go outside and yada yada yada. Like I thought that was a pretty cool cool line. But
like sometimes we're out in public. Okay, before the COVID stuff, because during this COVID stuff, I think that everybody should just, you know, like just get your stuff and go home. Like keep your family safe and stuff like that. But prior to that, I would be in different situations where I remember like they would feel like awkward. Like let's say you're at the doctor's office and you're sitting in the waiting room and like it's kind of like awkward and you're just sitting there, and so people are doing the magazine thing, and then there are some people that are talking. But now it seems like everybody's on their phone. So you don't even see like the older people talking to each other anymore. Now everybody's on their phone.
Yeah, but when people are on their phone, they're talking to people.
Yes, but it's not the same. Talking to somebody face to face and having that human contact is not the same as messaging somebody on Facebook. And I think you would disagree with that, but I firmly believe that. And I think that if people spend too much time in social media and not enough time connecting with actual physical human beings, I think that it's not good for you, and I don't think that it's healthy.
Well, if Dorian, you know, moved out or whatever, I would much rather him come visit me physically than text me on. I would want that physical interaction with him. So your point is taken. Like,
and then you have the... First of all, I need to say this about the Mona Lisa. Look at her face, look at her eyes, and look at her mouth, and try to figure out what she's thinking. Like, there's something kind of curious about her, but then there's something that's like, a little unsettling.
I just thought it was always weird. There's all the stuff in the background, like there's a mountain in the background. Like I don't get it. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to get it. But look. But back to the subject matter. I still feel so. It's like unpacking the phenomena of like selfie culture, for example. Like we were not gonna do. I mean, we set up an Instagram, but it was actually Khalid who said you need to keep your Instagram stuff updated. So we had a conversation with Khalid. What's up, Khalid? Man, send me an email, Khalid. Man, we've lost touch. Damn it.
No.
I miss Khalid. Send us an email, man. VinandSori@gmail.com. Don't forget about us. But he was like, yeah, you guys need to do more Instagram, because we didn't know what we were doing at the time.
Right.
But like, aside from like what it's doing with our career, when I think about selfie culture, I'm like, okay, what's going on? And the simplest solution is this is some form of validation.
Yeah. I think that's like
you put your best face forward, and then you get validated for it, and then for the 4 seconds that somebody likes your like we're going through it right now with Zoe. Like she's it's very big for her, not so much like appearance, but she puts a comment on a YouTube thing, and then like X amount of people like her comment, and she gets a lot of validation out of that. And
she brings it up every day.
I'm trying to figure out what that means, and then I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, well, is anything wrong with it? And it's like, how can you say that anything is wrong when you're constantly checking how many views your YouTube channel has? How is that different from what she's doing? But I'm like, well, this is our career. This is what we do for work. This is how we put food on the table. So it's different. But so I'm very, very like the lines get very blurry for me.
I think, I feel like we're more established in who we are and where our validation and our value comes from.
Sure.
And so I think, that's what kind of makes me be like, when every single day that's like the main topic, and the main excitement for her is how many people have liked her thing. And then I think, oh my gosh, if she's getting that much of a high off of likes, what would happen if it was flipped and all of a sudden, it was negative feedback?
Right. Right. Yeah. So there's that part of it that's very and again, I think what he's saying is valid, but at the same time I could definitely see somebody saying, easy for you to say, and it's just like us. Like if we were to say, hey, life is more than social media, people would say, you're saying this? You got 50 million views, like how dare you say that to, whatever. So I feel weird about but you're right. If the channel went away tomorrow, I would be okay. I would miss the people. I had a great conversation with Peter. I would miss him. I would miss Ian. I would, so the human side of it I would miss, but the, being in front of the camera, I would not miss. So it's a very, very interesting topic to me. And like lyrically, this was crazy. Shoot yourself, pose for the dead.
I know.
Brilliant line.
Yeah.
Because shoot yourself, like that's literally what we're doing right now.
Yep.
And pose for the dead.
Yeah.
And like some of this stuff got pretty crazy a couple of years ago. I forgot who the YouTuber was, but he went to this.
Yeah.
It was in Japan where they have these guys are. I'm not even gonna get into it, but he did something really horrible, and he put it on YouTube, and then there was an outcry, and it wasn't until after the outcry that YouTube took it down and then took action. And the most cynical version of myself says, if it wasn't for the outcry, YouTube would have kept it up there, because this guy was generating millions of views for this, because this thing went massively viral. And it just showed how...
I mean, he had a very successful channel, even apart from that video.
Right, and he still does. But it just shows how, like, crazy and powerful the medium of video is. Like right now, there's a video of this unarmed black guy who was jogging and basically got shot. I'm not gonna watch that video.
I know.
I'm not watching the video. And
they use the word lynched.
Yeah, but I'm just not gonna watch the video. And that's the thing that people don't realize is like people don't it sounds very simple, you don't have to watch that shit.
Right.
But because everything is just so, you know, so like shoot yourself, pose for the dead is kind of like a crazy thing, because you do have people doing horrible things to themselves on YouTube. And that's not YouTube's fault. I mean, I had this conversation with somebody earlier, like, YouTube is doing something that literally in human history has never been done before, ever. So I don't have a lot of, you know, it's very, you know, creators always like make a sport out of complaining about YouTube, and YouTube's wrong here, YouTube's wrong here. I'm like, we've never been in this situation in human history. YouTube's doing their best, but you got people killing themselves on video, man, and it's heartbreaking, because it says so much to me. Like, one, whatever was going on in that person's life that drove them to make that decision. Obviously, I've got that in my background, but the worst part about it is, what does it mean that they did that on camera? What does it say about them? What does it say about society? And then, of course, when you look at the comments in these videos, you know, and I saw a screen cap one time of some of the comments that people were making, and
was it bad?
Oh, it's just horrible. Well, yeah, people do it, blah blah blah. You know, and it's just you kind of lose your humanity. There's something that happens in the virtual world where you lose your humanity. People say things. I mean, it happens with us in the comment section, but I mean, that's, again, we're established adults who, you know, we're able to go, this is a comment section in YouTube, like, who cares? But there's a lot of people where that's not the case, especially when you're young. I cannot imagine being a teenager and you know, going through what these people are going through.
I had to grow too.
I have a hard time.
When we first started, you know, there was that one comment that, you know, really, really hurt my feelings. And I just, you know, the word that the person used, and, you know, I've said this before. I called my mom. I was like, Mom, somebody called me up. You know, and I was like pretty sad about it. And I stayed away from the comment section for a while because of that. Like,
that was when we just started.
I just thought, I think what was difficult was that I was putting my authentic self out there, and then to have somebody say something like that was just really, really hurtful. But, you know, now I'm in a different place. Now I'm like, say what you want. I don't know you, and I don't care what your opinion is, you know, so, But I think that I've thought of this, not gonna go into all the details, but I have thought of this, I don't want to call it a phenomenon, but this thing where people will do that, and they will, you know, kill themselves publicly and stuff like that. It's such a sad thing. And then I always come to the same conclusion as to why it happens. And, you know, people are going to be like, you're preaching at us. I really feel like that it's because, so, you know, if our worldview is correct, and that God made us, and He made us to know Him and be known by Him, and if you, like, that's part of your reason, part of your being, like, it's in you whether you realize it or not, but that there's this need, this desire by people to be seen and to be known, and, like, that's people true. Don't see them, and people don't know them, and they want to be seen, and so it's like all eyes are on you if you do something dramatic like that. Like, everybody's gonna see you that's watching, you know. And so for a smidge of time you're seen, and for a smidge of time someone knows that you are in pain, like you're obviously in a bad situation. And so I just think, oh God, if they knew how much they were known by you and how much they were loved by you, would they have actually gone through with that? If they really, really understood, you know, because obviously God's opinion of you is the most valuable opinion that there is, because He's your creator, you know? And so if you are loved and known by your creator, and He knows you fully and He accepts you fully, then I just don't think that there would be anything past that. I don't think that you would need anybody else's opinion. I don't think that you would need anybody else's validation. But because people don't know that, I feel like that puts them in such a vulnerable place to...
Well, it's hard for even Christians to get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. To believe it.
Yeah. It's just, it's tough, you know. It's tough because you have normal social conventions that are agreed upon when everybody's in a room. you know, and then there are the risk factor for saying something crazy to the wrong person is increased exponentially when you're in a room, but decreases to almost nothing when you're digital.
Yeah.
So you get to, and the thing is, this is the other thing about the internet that's interesting. Like, you'll have, you know, 30 people in a row saying, that's great, Sori's beautiful, da da da, and then there's just one guy says something reckless, you know, back then, and it has this massive effect. And so
I would forget all of the things that were said that were nice, and the only thing that I could remember was the negative.
Right.
And it was such a, and then I was noticing that there was a lot of, at that time, I don't know if it's still happening now, but I remember a lot of YouTubers were saying it, you know, there was that, you know, people for their mental health were saying that they were going to stop YouTube, or some of them were shutting down their comment section, or some of them, you know, weren't going, and so I was like, you know what, because you were fine, that stuff never affected you or bothered you. I mean, probably you didn't like seeing that said about me, you know, but
I knew it was going to happen. I knew both ends of the spectrum were going to happen because you trigger certain things in people. So both ways. It's a really interesting. It's really interesting because one of our kids is extremely vain, like the most vain human being I've met in my life. It's one of my kids, and he doesn't care about YouTube at all. Or social media at all. Like, he doesn't, you would figure that he doesn't care. And that's one of the things that makes me feel like I'm not sure if it's only about vanity and all this, you know, this stuff. Like, I feel like it's something a little bit deeper than it. Because if it was just vanity, then he would be all over the place. You know, because he's extremely good looking.
Yeah, but he, like, has a vision for his future. And that's his goal. Like, he wants a Wikipedia page made about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, and I think that he looks at, like,
he's extremely focused. He looks
at our channel, and I think that he's like the other kids, like, whoa, you guys have all the subscribers, and he's like,
he doesn't care.
Not really that big a deal.
Yeah, he doesn't care at all. Yeah, so it's just very fascinating. I've been saying, like, you know, in 30 years there's going to be some published report, and all of us are going to be, this generation of people, we're going to be collectively, it's going to come out that we're all collectively traumatized. Because I don't think, you know, like for you're black in America, you've seen all these videos of unarmed black dudes getting killed and shot and no indictments and all that. That has an effect. And I've told so many black folk, like, do not watch those videos, man. We know what happens. Nobody's surprised. Why do you need to watch it? Why do you need to watch it happen? For what? Because, you know, everybody, like, when you see that shit happen, and then on top of that, you see the comments below it, good for that, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a horrible, all that does is get you to the point where you're like, oh, you're on your Nat Turner shit. And, you know, I mean, shit, I had to write a song about it so I could channel my, you know, anger at it, because, you know,
yeah.
So, and it works. You know, song works. Anytime I get in that little headspace, I put on my little thing and I feel good. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I would search for songs that, like, were saying what I wanted to say, but there's only
F that, I'll make my own.
I made my own, and now I feel good about it because I'm like, this is exactly what I feel, and okay, now I feel better. But
it's tough though. And like, you don't, when you're white and you come up in a family that doesn't recognize that there's still racial tensions now. And then, like, I remember you used to talk about it, and I would be like,
yeah.
It's just you guys holding on to the past that you weren't even a part of. Like, you weren't a slave, I wasn't a slave owner, let it go. You know, but I didn't realize there was still stuff going on now. And being married to you, I recognized a lot of racial tension when we would be out publicly. Now I don't notice it anymore because I don't like...
Well, but here's the ironic thing. You didn't really get woken up to anything until you saw the Garner video.
Yep.
So until you saw Eric Garner get killed on camera, and then I showed you there's no indictment for these people, that's when you said, holy shit.
Yeah.
So that's the crazy thing. Like, on the one hand, I'm saying, black people, don't watch the video. We already know it. But on the other hand, it was good that you saw the video.
Yeah, it was so crazy.
It's just weird.
For me, it had that effect where I said, "Oh my gosh, this is a problem." And then, you know, I was talking to somebody that I care about this person and I care about their opinion, and I was explaining to them the situation, and there was all these excuses, and I said, "You watch the video," because I thought that the video would do something, and then I felt like, you know, when the person saw the video, it didn't affect them. They said, well, you know, he was breaking the law and stuff. I said, he was selling Lucy cigarettes. Like, how is that a reason to kill somebody? They were on him. He was saying he couldn't breathe. And, like, you know, the person had all their... And I felt so angry, and I felt like that I had... Like, I think that, you know, human life is so valuable, and human life is holy in a sense, you know? And so when you
100%.
take that life, it's like you spilled that blood. I know that there wasn't literal blood there because he you know, that's not how he died, but like you spill that blood, metaphorically speaking, when he died on that sidewalk, and it's like you... But then when I showed the video and I wanted someone to see like how precious this situation was and how horrible it was, and when it wasn't recognized, I felt like that I had dirtied that holy ground. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah.
I just felt like I had, and then I was like,
well, I mean, yeah. So that's the thing about technology, is that it's simultaneous, and it really depends on how you use it. And I think maybe at the end, because you know the thing says. Sunset is free from this deity. The earth has a real voice. Get out and get in, which is brilliant. Because, like, go out and experience nature. And then you say, well, what deity? And if you say technology is a deity, I'm not particularly sure that that's the case. Because it's not as if people are taking pictures of their iPhone with their iPhone. So, technology isn't the deity. What we're taking pictures of with the iPhone is us.
Oh, I thought that they were just meaning like the deity is social media. This thing that we bow to and we give to and we put so much time for.
Well, I think
but the reason that we do that a lot of times is, you're right, so we can glorify ourselves.
Right. And again, I don't want to oversimplify it and say everybody who's doing it is trying to worship themselves, because I think human beings are way too complex to just, you know, whittle it down to one motivation. Yeah. But I think it has a lot of food for thought. It's something that I've struggled with for a long time, as far as like trying to figure out, you know, on the one hand, we just got done doing the fireside, and this was something that I'm talking to somebody in Austria. I wouldn't be able to do that without technology and without the phone and Skype, and I thought we had a very, very good discussion, and we connected, and we've you know, met some really, really actual people who are friends who I would, you know, so it's a I guess at the end of the day, it's just about, are we going to figure it out? We're going to figure out how to use this amazing tool that we've been given, and find ways to balance everything, so that we can do it for the good of humanity and the glory of God. Obviously, as Christians, that's what we believe. But at the same time, you know, I don't know. Maybe even in the horrible denizens of YouTube or whatever, that it also keeps you abreast of human suffering. And I think that being able to see human suffering is important, especially for people in the Western world, where you live in this sort of like, you know, enclosed environment, and everything is relatively safe for you. And realizing, hey, not everybody lives like this. You know, I remember one girl was talking about how she didn't lose her faith in God, but she had to change her understanding of God when she saw this girl from Afghanistan get stoned to death. And again, it's one of those like, why would you watch that? But she had to see it because she grew up in an American suburb her entire life, and she had no, you know, understanding of what was happening in the world. And so, yeah, so those things can be marshaled for good or evil, and all the rest of it. And really, it comes down to, you know, what your disposition is, you know, before you're watching it. So, I thought it was a really good video. Very, 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 very thought provoking. But I don't necessarily think it ended on a bad note, because it ended with nature and the sky and all that. And I think like it's giving us two choices, you know, and maybe trying to find a way to marry the sky and the phone. And if we can figure that out, then we'll really take off. So there you go. What do you give the song?
I was really looking forward to some, you know, like real floor.
Yeah, this is a
greatness, but I felt like it wasn't about that. Like the reason for the song was what was the focal point. And so, you know, that kind of was like, I was like, oh, but at the same time I was like, this is a very, very meaningful song, and I think that Floor is so amazing at what she does that it would be very easy to distract from the point of the song and, you know, go into her vocals and stuff. So so yeah, I think it's probably it's probably like an 8.9 for me.
So 9.3 for me. I felt the same way. I thought, hey, these guys are, you know, I think for a band like Nightwish, it's so simple to just do 15 Ghost Love scores and make trillions of dollars and, you know, call it good. But he's really expanding, and he's very, very aware of where he is in our current seats in Laban, and for that, I think he deserves a lot of credit lyrically. And I love anytime somebody that's like a virtuoso talent like Floor is willing to say, we don't need to feature me on every freaking song.
I know.
I love when people do that. They're able to do that, because I think that's great. Why?
I agree. I just think, like, I feel like if I was Floor, I'd be like, really? I mean,
I'm sure there's a couple Ghost Love score type songs here.
But they put her in the music video, which I thought was cool, because sometimes bands don't put their own people in the music videos. They have like other people featured in there. So I thought it was cool that she was still in the music video and part of that art. So.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and to some degree, it's like a self-criticism, right? Because she's taking a selfie, singing about people taking selfies. You know what I'm saying? Having a near-life experience. I just wanted to give credit. I just wanted to give credit for that.
Yep.
This guy, he wrote his ass off in this song. That's for sure. Near-life experience instead of near-death experience.
Almost got close to life, but you didn't, because it was through a screen. And it wasn't really your life. It was somebody else's. You were living vicariously through them. Stop doing that.
Think about it. Says the YouTubers. In, out.
Story out.
Gone.
Coloring yarn and the crowds